And it still has it. We still do it. If you want to come back, you're more than welcome.
I go back to Atlanta regularly. My family's still there.
Yeah.
But I feel like
I know y'all do something here. I mean, y'all got soul. Even you sticking around. I've been screening for a long time. And most of the places be full, and they laugh at the same parts that y'all laugh at. They nod their heads at the music at the same parts. You know, but y'all do it with a different energy. And I can always appreciate that. I know who got soul when Dougie Fresh comes on. You know what I mean? Anybody else? Yes.
When I saw the Super Bowl this year, I was disturbed as an African-American woman to see Beyonce, and I know that it's probably not popular. It certainly wasn't popular the next day when I expressed my sentiment. To see this black woman
Busting it open.
with no clothes on and a blonde wig,
Yeah.
and somehow that's representative of African-American musical excellence, or that's the only image that I basically see anymore, whether or not it's Rihanna or it's Beyonce. Mediocre artists, mediocre music, packaged, European.
Come on, sister. I like it. Keep talking.
I guess I'm so glad. The reason why I came to this film was because I was so happy to get the email and to be able to have someone articulate what I could not articulate as a non-artist in terms of what has been lost to our culture and what is happening to our music.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to thank you for that, but I wanted to ask you, do you agree with me, or?
I agree with you. I do agree with you. Operative word is mediocre. You go for it. There's a lot of people that like, you know, mediocre stuff, you know what I'm saying? And we're in a world of search and discovery, so it's about what you search for, what you want to hear, what you want to see. I don't have a TV. I hadn't had TV in about 4 years. So in the airport, I'm like, oh my God. You know, they burned a man up in the cabin? They killed the police? Oh shit. I mean, I keep up with the world, obviously. But, you know, at some point, I just can't have some of that stuff in my mind. The mediocrity. Because I don't consider myself mediocre like that, you know. I just don't want to hear it. But I agree with you. Tell some friends. Maybe we can make a change, you know what I'm saying? So, and that's why I did this film. You know, because that's a pivotal point. I always wondered how we got from a plethora of R&B bands to how many? I hear people saying it. Name 10 bands today. Can anybody? Yeah, Auto-Tune, Pro Tools, Logic Audio, Garage Band, Booty Loops. So that was my perspective, you know, from doing something that was authentic in terms of a festival. I mean, when I started in 1994, I said I wanted to make a festival that have thousands of people, but I don't want to tell them who the artists are. All of y'all would have said, bruh, you know, how you gonna get people there? But I didn't think about that till years later and look back and said, because I really wanted to cultivate all the other artistic disciplines. As you saw, stilt walkers and fire breathers. The brother was spinning on his head with fire. Did y'all see that? We're magnificent people. We got a lot of talents. I know all of y'all are talented. or have some type of talent. And that's all I try to highlight. Yes?
What were some of the challenges when you were pulling off the very first shows, and then you just stopped the last show?
I stopped to do this movie, but as you see in 2001, things changed, you know. 9/11 was for real, you know what I'm saying? Because all of a sudden it went to, African American marketing went to, you know, they'll watch it on TV, no need to do experiential scratch and sniff events, you know. We'll be there and do samplings and all that. So that's still one of the challenges though. So if any of y'all got any friends that know a friend got a friend somewhere at a company want to do something like FunkJazzKafe in New York, Atlanta, anywhere, holla at your boy. We still want to do it. Planning something for the summer anyway. Yes, sir.
What's up, Jay? It's Adrian.
What's up, Adrian?
Good, sir.
Adrian used to paint in the FunkJazzKafe all the time. I'm sure it's through your mind. You're like, wow, man.
You know, I've been going to Funk Jazz since '96. I was 19 at the time.
Exactly.
Right? So, you know, you fast forward 15 years, and I've seen myself grow as a fully grown man. And I want to say that Funk Jazz really contributed to me being the creator who I am today.
Yeah.
And, you know, I wanted to say thank you for that, and just your whole contribution to just that whole creative community. How you see Funk Jazz, you know, it's coming up on its 20 year of its...
Next year is 20 years.
20 years, man, you know.
Start the decade 2.
Yeah. But, you know, it's a new era, right? How
Yeah.
do you see it, like, really affecting, you know, people in this room? Because, let's just be real, you know, in this digital age, a lot of people just dealing with fake shit.
Hey.
We're dealing with a lot of fakeness in the world.
That's right.
And I consider myself, you know, pretty out
You
there.
clap for that, yeah. I'm with it. I like you too.
But in
Clap
an
there.
era, you know, when you do have a lot of just non-authentic things, and we do live in an era where the social media is huge, because I'm big into that.
Mm-hmm.
How do you now bring true creativity and that true spirit back to the world? Because I think something like Funk Jazz is, it was beautiful in Atlanta, but I think the rest of the world needs it.
First, I gotta get y'all off Facebook.
Agreed.
Good God. Well, really. So what I plan to do is continue to make other branded programs, you know. I could have been on Netflix with this last year, but I thought it was more important for you all to see it on the big screen in a place where everybody's together. I have screenings all the way up to October of this year. Again, you know, last year I thought, I was like, okay, I'll do it for a year and move on, and it'll be a big commercial for FunkJazzKafe Arts and Music Festival. But from this experience, now in the fall we're doing the FJK Documentary Film Festival, the music conference. You know, because two things. I think I was at the Pan-African Film Festival and it was their 20th year. And somebody was like, well, what are you going to do with this film? And I was like, well, number one, I was naive in getting into the film game, thinking I could make something good with a bunch of celebrities, more celebrities than has ever been in any black film or any documentary in movie history, as you see. You can take half out, you'll still have more than whatever you've seen. But at that festival, there were no sales agents, there were no distributors. It's just a festival, like a gathering, you know what I mean? And so I want to now produce my own, you know, and where we have conversations on how to cultivate artists, documentarians, and also when I'm on like a music conference panel, people come up and say, how do I get my song on the radio? What? You don't have to, you know. Wes, how many albums you got?
2 minutes.
Like 20 what? Like 27 albums. And they all sell. That man was telling me one time how much he made a week. I was like, man. Off of selling albums. You know, you can make albums and videos, and there's so much more you can do in this new era. So I'm going to do that conference to cultivate those talents. That's one thing. And do FunkJazzKafe Arts and Music Festival, so come back down and paint with us.
I will.
Yes.
Where did you get the funding to do your the first festival? Like, how did you get the space? How did you get the money to put that together?
Good question. I was a tax collector for the city of Atlanta. I really was. And I was using my own money to put into it. It's not as expensive as it is now, but I would have, invest my. FunkJazzKafe changed my life. I was one way, and then once I started doing it and seeing what I wanted to do, and as you see, would draw things out. It just changed. I had to adapt and create, and then take it to the people. Go and do pitches for sponsorship and all of that. I used to come out here in the 90s, and sometimes people would send me home with my tail between my legs. My partner would say, I was like, that was a good meeting. He'd be like, yeah, but how much are we leaving with? They're like, no, man, they say they're going to do something. Jason, they ain't going to do nothing if we're not leaving with it today. So, again, if you know some folks, holla at your boy. We still want to do it. Anybody else?
Jason.
Hold that, brother. I'm coming over here. Because y'all in the dark.
Yeah.
I'll be quick.
Okay.
First of all, I just wanted to say thank you so much for telling our story. I lived in Atlanta for almost a decade, so I was at several of the Funk Jazz, and I just wanted to, it was like a family reunion to watch it, so thank you very much for telling the story. So what I'm interested in knowing is, when did you realize that you had something special, that it was beyond just, a fun event? It was like, an excuse to get your friends together and listen to some good music and hang out. When did you realize that you had something special, and when did you have the spark of putting together this documentary?
The first one.
Yeah.
The first one. Because I thought I was, I got so consumed with producing it and putting it together and getting people there, and all of a sudden, some magic happened. That's why y'all didn't see that first one, the performance, because we didn't capture it. And I went home and it was like, well, it's just a memory. Now we need to capture it. And have the intent on making magic happen every time. As you see, we'd be like, damn, that's Jamie Foxx. And he's having the same good time we having. And he might come on and want to sing. Dougie Fresh, the same way. All of that, everything you saw was improvisation. What I tried to put in this film was the magic points.
And I just wanted to add, for the next documentary or for the next platform,
Yeah.
I would be interested, just a suggestion, seriously, because FunkJazzKafe was life-changing. It was beyond just the music and, the cultural. There was something happening. Spirit moved.
Yeah.
It came together. So address that. Maybe you can talk to people and listen out some stories, because it's life-changing.
Thank you. I got a lot of those. But y'all was in here 2 hours almost. That might be part 2, Diary Decade 2. I mean, this was actually, 118 minutes of 30 hours. I had to drink a lot of wine to cut that down. They'd be like, oh, get that shit out of here. We're coming up there. Who was over here?
Todd Triplett.
Todd Triplett.
First, shouts to A.
What up?
Yeah, that's right.
What up, man?
What's happening?
Welcome to Brooklyn.
Thank you. Brooklyn in the house.
So, apparently you got a lot of funk jazz alums in here.
Mm-hmm.
But wanted to ask you, just specifically, there are no bands. I mean, they're bands, but they're coming from Australia, like Hiatus Coyote, and, those. But who would you say represents funk jazz today, in terms of musicians, bands that are fresh, that are new, that are the ones that if you're booking today?
It might not be bands. It might also be individuals. I'd love to see. We're in the point now, as you see, this was dedicated to James Brown and Donald Byrd.
Right.
I mean, I would have loved to have gotten every living icon that I could possibly get. I'd love to see Al Jarreau and Bilal together. You know, it's a lot of those combinations. So, it might not be a band, you know, we don't harbor on a band. Yes, brother.
Question about business side of this. The sponsorship aspect, when you were in your film, it seemed as though when the sponsorship got paused, that created a major problem for you in terms of being able to perpetuate the events.
Of course.
Do you have a solution for that other than that same formula, or have you thought about some other ways in doing this where you have more equity in what you're doing, so that you don't rely on the sponsorships in the same way and make yourself vulnerable?
You know, one thing about this program, I call it a pay-to-play program. You pay a lot of money to make sure this happens. And the reason I made this movie is because I thought it was phenomenal. I can go almost 20 years, still be anticipated, not announce the talent, and have thousands of people under the radar. Now, the other part of that is that nobody else has done that. It takes another skill set to do that. We're still gonna have them. People always say, are you still gonna do another FunkJazzKafe? I'll be like, man, did Prince perform after Purple Rain? Shit. That's the point. So, you know, we got a couple of strategies. You know, sponsorship is key. Because, look, this is just Brooklyn. How many people in this room are gonna come down from Brooklyn?
I'm the one that had the membership.
Exactly. Yeah, you got one of the membership cards. That ain't good now, but but come down. Yes.
Sorry, last question.
Last question?
Yeah.
Can I get this sister over here?
Talk to you after.
That sister right there. And this brother. It won't be that long. Curtis, go ahead, brother.
Hi, my name is Chris Rod.
Chris Rod. Yeah, what's up, Chris Rod? Yeah.
Most likely I'll be at one of your festivals.
Indeed. Yeah.
My question is, how do you keep your posts on the realness, the real new stuff that's coming? You seem to be like very current and catching on all the people who were like really fresh at the times, and then the prime when they was really coming out. How do you keep your posts?
Search and discovery. Gotta go. Next. We're gonna talk though. Where the sister at? All right, brother.
I'd like to echo the sister here. For those of us who did go to those Funk Jazz, they were very spirit moving. I know people who quit their jobs after Funk Jazz.
That's true.
To look for what they were doing, to look for their truth. But you know, in a light of humor, what is a funny story that we didn't see that might highlight some of the troubles that go along with Funk Jazz, like dealing with artists or something behind the scenes?
Oh. Well, it's a lot of those.
A lot of egos on that screen.
Yeah, but I didn't catch a lot of egos. You know what I mean? When you come with love into a situation, you really, you know, I'm one of those dudes that, you know, people might have a lot of problems with a cat. I don't have problems with him. I'm like, I'm cool with him. I don't know what your problem is. But one funny story, and I guess this will be the last one. Y'all remember the side of Dick Gregory interviews, right? So I go to interview Dick Gregory, and I'm all set up. And, you know, he said, well, come over here and tell, he's doing a lecture that day, actually. So he was setting this lecture up. And I said, he said, well, tell me about your film. And I was like, well, it's about the, you know, evaporation of soul music on a commercial market, blah, blah, blah. And I think that's all he wanted to hear. And then I kept saying some other things, and, you know, the evolution of FunkJazzKafe. He's like, didn't I tell you I got it? Go sit your fucking ass in the corner. So, I went and sat in the corner because that was a golden moment. I get to tell you this story. Like, ooh, he told me to go sit my ass in the corner. And then he's throwing out books for his lecture. And then he's throwing out this book, The Immortal Cells of Henrietta Lacks. I don't know, y'all know about it. Oh, y'all know about it? So, I look at it from the corner and I go, Rebecca Skloot, who is the author. And he was like, you know about that? I was like, yeah, Rebecca Skloot, Henrietta Lacks. He was like, you can come back over here. So he did. So thank y'all for coming out, man. I love y'all, Brooklyn. And if you want to get on that database, we're going to be at mail.com. Kafe is with a K, not with a C. And hit me up. Give me your comments.